it isn't really that big a deal. So we are currently recording. I'm going to, but we do have closed captions on. I need to remember to turn those off when we turn the video on.
If you don't, it's okay.
Yeah, I know. I hate that it has those black bars, or the grayed out bars rather, because it's like I can't see it. So unless somebody's like, hey, there's a great mess on your screen, I don't really know. So, okay. So I think we have a couple people who are joining us here in the Zoom. So welcome to those of you who are joining us in Zoom. We are over to Facebook in just a moment. We are happy to be here with you tonight. This is actually the last of a long series of Yale Alumni Lives for the pep rally that we have been hosting this year. So, and to be honest, one of the ones I was looking forward to the most, because I just love how unique and special your story is. So I'm going to go ahead and tether us over to Facebook. I will let you guys know when we're close to being live, and I'll do my little housekeeping and then we'll get started. Okay.
You got it.
All right. So here we go. I'm going over to Facebook. I used to have somebody who helped me with this part of things, so I just had to smile, but now I have to do it all. So it takes a second.
You're coming to the producer and the host at the same time.
It is not an easy gig, but I do love it. And I feel like I could do anything now, right? If I could do all of this. So
I have no doubt about that.
It's been a lot of fun. So I think it's probably going to have us live in just a moment. I'm checking on my phone to see if they have us popping up there. Usually it technically seems to go live before I hit the button, but here we go. I think we should be live any moment. I'm checking on Facebook to make sure. All right, I think we should be good. So without further ado, I am Stephanie, and I am a member of the regional clubs team at the YAA, and I am so excited to be here again tonight. This is, I think, maybe like our 10th interview. I was part of the pep rally, which has been a celebration of all things Yale football, Yale precision marching band, which I have been struggling through, wanting to say pep band, which I know you are more sophisticated than that. And we've also talked to—
You met us?
Well, I mean, just giving you the benefit of the doubt. We've talked to cheerleaders. We have talked to everyone that goes into everything that makes the game such a special celebration at Yale. And I'm very excited to be here tonight with James and Rori Lockman, who were both members of the band, who are going to tell us their extraordinarily unique and special story, and also share a really great video clip from the 90s, from when they were married, and also share some photos. And what is really exciting for me and my colleagues is that James and Rori have taken leadership roles within the Yale Club of Maine, and that is my team at the YAA, is the regional clubs team. So we are so excited to tell you all of these wonderful things tonight to close out our portion of Yale Alumni Live at the pep rally with the Lockmans coming to us live from Maine. And we are also, just as a reminder, we are live both in Facebook and in Zoom. So if you have questions for James and Rori towards the end, please feel free to put those in there. And I think without further ado, we're going to get started the way that we always do. And we're going to welcome James and Rori. And thank you so much for being here. And we're going to ask you to tell us, each of you, to tell us where you grew up, why you chose Yale. Tell us your Yale story. So looks like James is giving Rori the eye. So Rori, would you like to go first?
Sure. Well, I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, and all growing up as a kid, we would see the Yale graduations parade across the green, and I thought, boy, that would be really great to go there. That's kind of, I know that sounds goofy, but, you see the kids crossing the street when they're not supposed to. And, I remember, it's graduation time, and the families from away would come and, like, oh, what a pain. And then as I got older, I began to really enjoy seeing those passages of time from the university. But I was also fortunate as a high schooler that I got to take classes at Yale too. So I really got to kind of see exactly what it was like. And I aspired to go there, and I went to public school, and I am a graduate of Hillhouse High School, James Hillhouse High School in New Haven, Connecticut. Yeah. Class of 1988. And when I got accepted to Yale, I found out early because I had applied early. Yale was the school I applied to early. That's the way it worked back then. And I was beyond thrilled. I actually found out on the same day that my best friend got accepted too. So we both went to Yale together. So that was kind of nice. And we both went to the same high school too. So I think that having grown up in New Haven and had the opportunity to go to Yale was just like beyond whatever my wildest dreams. So that and to be able to go and participate in all of the things that Yale had to offer. I was an art major, but you were able to do so much more. That was so fantastic. I was in the band. Why was I in the band? Because I made artsy things. I was in charge of all the artsy things, not the instruments, right? So I was in charge of making the giant props and sticking things together with duct tape. And at one point I was a bursary student for the band. And Tom Duffy, who's the band director, asked me to make a Mike Mulligan steam shovel out of cardboard and tape. Okay. So, we were always kind of doing things that were fun and exciting and related to my major. But I also, at that time, I really wanted to be a teacher. So Yale at the time had a teacher preparation program, and I was able to take part in that. So I ended up, when I graduated, I had my certification as well, so I could be a teacher. And I think that for me, it really was meaningful to grow up in New Haven, go to Yale, become a teacher, and be able to give back to the people that helped me get there. So that was really important for me. James? Oh, also, I do have to say something about Hillhouse High School. One more thing.
Go
It has to do with our story.
Yeah, it does actually.
So Vincent Scully also went to Hillhouse High School, the art historian. He is a graduate of my high school as well, way before me. So that will tie into a story later that we have.
Wasn't it up where the gym is or something? Or was that?
Yeah, when he went to Hillhouse, it was not where it is now.
Morris and Styles. It was there, right?
On the Yale campus, pretty much.
Yeah.
So before you tell us your Yale story, James, Rori, which residential college were you in?
I was in Branford College.
Branford. We've had a lot of good representation from Branford. So I know there are people out there saying, all right, Branford, the best courtyard is what I always hear accompanied with that statement. So with that, James, tell us which residential college you were in as well, and then your Yale story. Go right ahead.
Attached to Branford through locked gates was Saybrook. And I was in Saybrook, so we had a little bit of a Pyramus and Thisbe, Romeo and Juliet, however you want to do it, where there was a very nice wall that kept us apart, made us very sad at night. Nowadays, I understand that you can walk freely between Saybrook and Branford, and I don't understand this détente thing. They need to work that out. I don't know. Anyway, I grew up in central Massachusetts, in Auburn, if you know Massachusetts, and went to high school in Worcester. And I got connected to Yale through, this is going to sound so stupid, the college placement office in my school had a computer, and you sat down at it and you typed in a bunch of stuff, and then it spat out where you should go to school. I'm like, okay. So I did that, and it gave me two choices. It gave me Trinity and Yale. Now, I did not know anything about colleges. My mom and dad were not college people. My mom actually went to college when I was in school, so it was much later, but they didn't have a residential experience in school, right? And my dad was in the Navy, and then he was a worker, and he owned a company, and that was great. But for him, college was something that he hoped his kids would do. But that wasn't, nobody in his family. I guess his sister did, who became a nurse. But the men, they went straight to work, and that's how it was. So going to Yale, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about what it was like to be a resident away from home. And it was very uncomfortable, to be perfectly blunt. In those days, in the early mid 80s, I graduated high school in 85. My advisor, I was a physics major, and my advisor was in the French department. Made a lot of sense. And you get through the first part of freshman year, you finish off December. Boy, that was hard. And you come back in January and you do your shopping period, and time to get your schedule's got to be signed by your advisor, right? So I go to my advisor, and he's never there, and I'm banging on the door. He's not there. I don't know what to do, and get down to the last like hour when it's got the papers got to be in, and I go to the person in the French department. Where is this guy? Oh, he's in France. How long has he been in France? Oh, since October. What are you talking about? So I'm flailing around, and this is pretty much my experience because I'm such a dope. I don't know anything, and finally figured it out. I did manage to graduate somehow, which was fun. Along the way, I found the band, and Rori, as she mentioned, she was Pröps Göddess, so she made things and that we put on the field. I played sousaphone, and in those days, and maybe today it's the same, you had to audition to be in the marching band. And if you've ever seen the marching band, you are already questioning whether that had any validity whatsoever. What I didn't know is that it was a totally made up thing. So you go in, and he is Dante Suntory. For those of you old enough to remember, Dante Suntory, he was a sousaphone guy, and he was drum major of the band. Here, you need to play this song, and he handed me like bingo. And for the tuba, it's like one note, the same note over and over and over again. Like, oh, I got this. And I probably sounded horrible. I mean, like the worst. And he's like, you made it. Boy, you're great. So it was the only place that I felt like I don't want to say I felt accepted. That's not right. My residential college was amazing, and the friends that I made there are still my friends 30 years later. I mean, it's wonderful there. But in terms of a group on campus, that was the place I fit in immediately, and then just stuck with it all the way through. So by the time we get to 1988, I've become the drum major of the marching band, which is an elective audition elective process. And she comes in as a fresh person. So what was my first word to you? Do you remember?
Buy Susie Q's and a Coke.
No, it was before that.
Oh yeah. So this was Parents Weekend, and it was my freshman year, Parents Weekend, and I'm in the band, and the band that had like 200 people. It was huge,
gigantic. Because
football, you got a free ticket to football if you went. So football cost money then. So the band, it made the band huge. And one of the things that happened was on Parents Weekend, there were even more people because some of the parents would join in too. So I got this idea to get this giant, so my mom, because I live in New Haven, so all my family's coming to see me in the band. I have this big balloon that says like, "Hi Mom" on it that I have so I can hold it so my mom can see me in the crowd. And so what he says to me, this is, I didn't know anything. He's like, "Hey, you with the balloon, move over there." So those are the first words he ever said to me, was ordering me around because I wasn't in the right place. That was funny. But
how little I knew how romantic that phrase turned out to be.
That is the sweetest thing, though, having a balloon for your mom to be able to see you. I love that.
We were on the, I wanted her to be able to see, because in the band, everybody looks the same from far away, right? And so that's what I remember, that part. And so that's the first thing he said to me. And then there was another band event where he asked me to go pick up Susie Q's and a Coke for him from Wawa's or something like that.
It was the night before the Harvard game.
Yeah, it was the
night before the Harvard game. And I don't know what they do today, but I, as the leader of the band, I felt it was really important to create a community space and for people to feel welcome. On Friday nights before games, we would get together and watch videotape movies. So someone would go and rent the movie and would have like pizza and whatever the night before, and we'd just goof around. And I know for a lot of people, feeling awkward at school, it was important, certainly for me, and I imagine others like me, felt it was important to have that place to go and be with your peeps. So I made that happen. We did a bunch of other things that were really related to getting folks together. But that before the Harvard game, staying up all night, just being stupid and watching movies, and I needed Susie Q's and she went and got me Susie Q's. It worked out pretty good.
I love that. I think that is so great. That's such a wonderful origin story. So some people who are
there's
you're gonna go to Scully now?
so then the next part. So when we were the next semester, that was the fall, and in the spring, right before Jim graduated, we both took Vincent Scully's History of Art course together. And when we started kind of dating, we didn't have dates. We used to go to photo study. We used to be at photo study at the same time and talk to each other instead of looking at the pictures, you know. And the photo study was in Street Hall, where the clock is on High Street.
Right,
so now it's part of the actual art museum.
Yeah. But
back then it was photo study. Now I guess it's probably online, but you had to go look at photos on walls to memorize the slides for the test. And so that's how we attended that class together. Was the only class that we actually had together, was Vincent Scully's art.
And she had to take it for a grade. I did not.
So I love that. I think so. For those of you watching at home, clearly this evolved into a very happy marriage, as you can plainly see. But one of the big reasons that we wanted to talk to you guys tonight is because you are the only couple who has ever actually been married at the Bowl. So those of you listening, you heard me correctly. James and Rori were married at the Bowl, and that is just such an incredibly unique opportunity and experience. And I understand that there is a story around that, but I think what would be fun is if we showed the video. Yes, from WTNH. So I am going to share with all of you right now a clip from WTNH that James and Rori were able to track down that has them being interviewed on WTNH, which, if you don't remember, is the local news channel here, that interviewed them about their wedding, because it was so unique. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully everyone will be able to see this. I just have to get to the
and
right.
It did not have Sally, Jesse, Raphael in this clip, just so you know.
No, we know that you weren't, like, that wasn't what was happening. Oh, this took me over to, all right, can you guys see that? Can you see the YouTube page?
We can.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to get a bit.
Cheerleaders at the Yale Bowl had more to cheer about than just the Yale-Fordham football game today. Two former members of the Yale Precision Marching Band tied the knot at the 50-yard line. 22-year-old Rory Myers and 25-year-old James Lockman chose to marry at the Yale Bowl at halftime. They say it's a religiously neutral spot.
This is the place that's most common to us. It's the place where we've spent the last 4 years together, really. Our best times are here, our friends are here, and this makes the best sense.
Lockman is Protestant, Myers is Jewish. They exchanged vows over the public address system and announced where they'll spend their honeymoon.
We're going to Disney World!
Why am I not surprised? The couple says the weather was perfect, although the bride got her shoes stuck in the mud a couple of times. Leah, what do you think of that?
So you know, we debated. She has the shoes still, and the mud is still on the shoes.
You know, it's funny. I love when I watched that video before showing it to everyone tonight. I laughed because I just had Coach Tony Reno on Wednesday. We were talking about the improvements to the fields and the beautiful turf and how it's completely changed their ability to utilize the bowl. And so I laughed and said, this is exactly what I remember growing up hearing about the bowl, is that it could often be a muddy mess, but it is beautiful now. And anybody who's watching that didn't see Coach Tony Reno on Wednesday, you can go back on the Facebook page and check that out. But the bowl is also undergoing some renovations right now, which are very interesting and exciting. And hopefully we'll all be back in November of 2021. So guys, tell us tell us a little bit more about, how you decided to do this. Cause I did read in a book that maybe some people weren't aware of this. Maybe you didn't tell anybody. So was this a secret? How did you pull this off? Tell us how you made this happen.
Well, there's kind of two ends to this. There's the beginning and then the actual execution. So I finally worked up the fortitude to go and propose to her, which we did at Robert Henry's. I don't know if you remember Robert Henry's. It was a fancy pants restaurant across from Vanderbilt Hall. And oddly enough, my boss from AV, Vinny, was my waiter. So it was all kinds of strange things coming together. And at the table next to us was Benno Schmidt, the president of Yale.
We really couldn't afford to eat there.
We could, oh no,
was there.
I'm a school teacher, I'm not making any money, but we'll figure this is worth it, totally worth it, right? So I got the ring and the propose and she accepts, it's great. So the next day is the Yale Club's Day, right? Because it was in the fall of her senior year.
Yeah.
So now we have a plan. We're going to get married. It's going to be great. But where are we going to do this? Uh-oh. And of course, she has this sparkly ring on for the next day. And of course, everyone wants to know about this. And the band starts to scheme because the band is a bunch of schemers, don't you know? And we kind of
jokingly said, "Oh, what if we get married in the Yale Bowl?"
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Wait a minute, what if we get married in the Yale Bowl? Can we do that? Let's check with our people." And we did.
So we knew all the people who would be the leaders of the band in the following year. We also knew the biggest barrier to this would be Dr. Tom Duffy, assuming he would never allow such a ridiculous thing to happen. Although, come to find out, he probably was the most excited about the whole thing anyway. So we had to convince him that it was, in fact, his idea. And so there was a campaign among the band officers to like lead him into this, to make him believe that he had thought up the whole thing. And it did pay off. So we managed to get his approval. I remember you having to figure out where the 50-yard line of the Yale Bowl is in terms of,
is it in West Haven or New
what
Haven?
town is it in? Because where do you get your marriage license?
So I had to call the New Haven town office, I guess it's the city
Hall,
office,
yeah.
the city of New Haven City Hall. And I called them and I said, I need to know where the 50-yard line of the Yale Bowl is. Is it in West Haven or New Haven? And I said, I'm getting married there and I need to figure this out. So the people on the phone are like, wait a minute. And they put down the phone, they've just like announced it to the whole room. Like, these people are getting married at the Yale Bowl. Where is it? And so they were able to sort it out that it was in fact in New Haven. So we were all set because part of the property out there is in West Haven. So we were able to get married at the Yale Bowl. And they also, the day of the event, there was an article in the New York Times about us. So they had come out and interviewed us ahead of time. It was a really nice article, about the bands and Yale and us, and they did some research ahead of time, and came to where we lived in Worcester and interviewed us. So that was in the New York Times the morning we got married. And so we had a copy of it because we were so excited. There was no Facebook, there was no internet like that. So we were so excited. It was a picture of us, not at being married, but just in the paper
from earlier that week. They come and take the picture.
When James went to go into the bowl, nobody knew. We knew we were getting married, but there was no big security back then either. So he's trying to get in to leave the car,
trying to get into the YUAD lot, where we eventually bought season passes to stay for like 25 years, but I couldn't get in. And they wouldn't. What are you talking about? And I knew
wedding like that.
There's no wedding here today. He said, well, yeah, there is. And Tom, give me that. So my groomsmen were with me in the car. He said, give me the paper. Give me the paper. Gave it to the cop, and he's like,
he saw it in paper.
Okay, come on in. Real deal. So that was the first time I got to park in YUAD lot, which was great.
And they had gotten dressed at our friend's house around the corner, the Potter Shriver's house, and they live around the corner, and everyone had gotten dressed and like paraded over from their house. And it was lovely to have all of our family there and all of our band family there. And, you know, however many people were in the audience. And as the ceremony was going on, that was the first time we have ever heard silence in the bowl.
Like pin drop quiet.
That has never happened again, as far as we understand. Because people thought it was so interesting because it was Parents' Weekend too, and a lot of parents were like, you know, were amazed. And
what kind of joke is this?
They weren't sure.
I don't think it's a joke.
Like the halftime show. I mean, you guys were really true to your performance roots. You put on a great show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the band also, they formed like a little wedding cake with their bodies, and we were
at the
like
top.
on top of the cake. So,
and of course, they did the regular show before. Now, the one of the things that made this work is the Fordham band, or there isn't a band. Maybe there is a band at Fordham, it's pep band probably. But they didn't come to the game. So it meant that the Yale band had the entirety of the halftime. Normally they would have a portion of it, the other band would have a portion, and then, you know, they wait around for the team to show up. So this gave us the opportunity to be the second half of the halftime. So YPMB did its regular show, but they ended up in the formation of this cake. And then on walks the judge in his robes, and the script shifted to us. So it was pretty awesome.
I don't know. This is an unbelievable, like, to me, this is what I've been waiting for the past 2 weeks, is this story, because it is just so incredible to hear you tell this story, because, you know, everybody talks about their, you know, the group that they were in being a family, and clearly these folks from the band were a major part of your day and your whole Yale story, you know, coming together at the bowl. And then as I understand it, you guys also renewed your vows at the bowl not very long ago. Is that right?
Well, so yeah, it was sort of for our 20th and our 25th, right? You could call, I mean, we didn't have the judge come back, but what the band did was they surprised me anyway for one of for I think the 20th, right? And they had us be on the field, and they replayed they played something that they had played
our music.
They played the wedding march, because what they did was they played the Yale Down the Field and turned it into like the wedding song. And also our wedding song is What a Wonderful World, and that's what they played at the 20th and our 25th anniversary. Yeah. So that's the song that they played.
But I think it's, you know, Rory's mom, Rory grew up in New Haven, and Rory's mom has been a football tailgater forever in that YUAD lot. Back in the day, it was really hard to get a parking space in that spot. You had to wait until somebody either gave up the spot or, unfortunately, you know, passed on, and then it became available. So she got a space and then joined that tailgating group. And that tailgating group was almost 100% locals, people from New Haven who come to football and really appreciate Yale football. So she became the mom on the side of the field when the band would come around. They'd walk around the bowl, having gone to the various tailgates and gone to Ray Tompkins' house, not Ray Tompkins, the Cox Cage, and they finally come around, and there's Carol Smullen, Rory's mom, with her bag of candy, and she'd give them all candy. It's great fun. But we kept the space. So when we could, we would drive down with all the kids from Maine, down to New Haven. Sometimes it would be leave the house at 4:30 in the morning to get there on time. And we'd have tailgates. So this was a really important part of our adult life too, was having football at Yale. So coming to those important halftime or the important days like anniversaries and birthdays. We got two of our boys have birthdays in October.
We'd have birthday tailgates.
We'd have birthday tailgate. Anniversary birthday
tailgate.
And, well, you guys just mark this down for me real quick. When we do resume tailgates, don't forget my email. I will be there. I would like to join your anniversary birthday tailgates.
When they take down the nasty chain link fence between the YUAD lot and the bowl, we might consider coming back. But right now, I know this is a political statement, but we're not coming back.
Well, lucky for me, I have nothing to do with that and I can enjoy you guys this way. And maybe who knows what will happen in the future.
We also, like, the folks that we met in the band come back for the tailgates too.
Yeah.
You know, like they know we're there. We have some friends that live right around the bowl too now. You know, as our friends have graduated and come back who are in our class. We have people that will come with us for the tailgates, and I think that it's really nice and it makes them feel like welcome. You know, we also like when we had our anniversary tailgates, I could invite my high school friends came. You know, one of them was in the wedding, and you know, it was nice to be able to have that place to kind of have everybody meet to have a fun time. And they had just as much fun watching us walk on the field again. It's like we just had done it. So the shirt. Oh, so this is the button. I don't know if you can see the button.
Yale band wears pins, and this is a pin. You can see it there. It says, "I saw them do it in the bowl," and we gave those out.
We're tying the knot.
We have a knot.
Oh, that's incredible, guys. I am sad that I was not a part of this, but I am loving reliving it with you right now. So you guys also have behind you, I want to talk a little bit next about your role now as volunteers, but tell me about those jackets before we do. Tell me, because it looks like those are bedazzled and amazing.
Well, hers is much cooler than mine.
I did that myself. That's my band blazer, and it has all my field. I was the props person, so I got field passes, and the pockets are stuffed with field passes from, you know, bygone eras that have stuck together from all the rain and wind and hurricanes.
I was just noticing you have a picture of me on there.
I do.
That's pretty awesome. She has
you guys, this is
a
couple right here to look up to.
And then
mine is less fun. Now I don't know if any of the sousaphone people are on the call, because I can't see what's going on Facebook. But give me a second. I have to do something.
But
So if there's any of the sousaphone people on the call, just know that it's very scary. It's a very terrifying ghost that pops out of the pumpkin.
Oh my goodness,
the
you
shirt,
guys.
though, when we went in that video, it asked where we're going on our honeymoon, and we did actually go to Walt Disney World, because when you do something big in a football stadium, you should go to Walt Disney World.
Back then, anyway, yeah.
So we ended up, these shirts are shirts that we purchased on our honeymoon.
You guys, I love this. This is excellent nostalgia. So now you guys are clearly, you know, Yale through and through. You have an amazing Yale story, but you've actually taken your love for Yale to the next level, if I may say so, as volunteers. And we have a lot of volunteers that are watching right now. We have volunteers, you know, across the world who participate in our special interest groups, who help with the admissions process. But, you know, for me and my team, you guys support a Yale Club in Maine. And that is an incredible thing to do to help Yaleys stay connected to one another. And you just recently took on these leadership roles because the Yale Club of Maine, there were two, and now there is one that you are leading the charge with. So will you talk a little bit about what it's like to be a volunteer and to be a part of the clubs? Because for those people who are watching who may not be involved in the clubs, we have clubs all over the world, and there most likely is one for you near where you live. And I think, you know, it's really valuable to get involved and stay connected and hear each other's stories in this way. So James, would you want to talk a little bit about what that process has been like and what you're doing now with the club?
Yeah, we started I think we got involved with the Yale Club of Western Maine back when it was Yale Club of Western Maine, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And it's kind of been poking along. Got involved as an interviewer. I know a lot of folks do interview, and we really appreciate the work that you all do when you're, you know, interviewing, particularly now with no interviews on campus. It's critically important to go out and meet those candidates and get the assessments and help the admissions process. So, you know, that was the entry point for us. And occasionally there'd be an event like the Harvard game or the Princeton game, right? So we're going to go and watch. We'd get together at a local restaurant, and they had a feed in, so we could sit down with the Harvard club and boo at them
Shake
and
your fist.
shake our, the last 10, 11 years, we've been shaking our fist at them, but it was so satisfying last year to beat them finally. And then began to take on some additional roles. You know, a lot of Yale clubs, particularly out here in the hinterlands, tend to be less formal than, say, the Yale Club of New York, which has a big governing body and a facility and so on. We don't have that up here. What we do have is a few people who, you know, think it's important to have a place where, or an idea around which we can socialize. So we have had in the past few years a number of events. As I said, there's been a fall event is a natural because football, let's get together and watch a football game. In the springtime, we've participated in the Yale Day of Service. So we have a couple of events, Yale Day of Service, that go on. We've been to a baseball game. I think one year we went to a baseball game. We've been collaborating with the Harvard, Dartmouth, Columbia, Princeton, the Ivies clubs up here where we'll do some outdoor things. So there's a ski center that we go to and cross-country ski and snowshoe, and that's been a lot of fun too. The Western Maine Club is where the majority of the people are. This is Portland and Augusta. If you think about Maine, it's a big state. It's the biggest state in New England. It's not like Montana, but it's big, and it's geographically, the population is concentrated in the south and west. The Eastern Maine Club, just by distribution, didn't have the number of people that we had potentially available in the Western Maine Club, and over time they had suffered some losses. Some folks passed on, and the club kind of was simmering. So we got together about a year ago, maybe more than that. I think it was the weekend that we had that Yale came up to play UMaine at Orono, and that's when we really made the connection to the Eastern Maine Club, and decided that maybe we should be thinking about doing things more together. And so we merged our mail lists. We began to do mailings that were to both clubs, but treating ourselves essentially as one club in terms of activities. And then we had some engagement from Yale last couple of years coming up and trying to push on us to be a little bit more active. And we decided last spring it was really time to formally merge the two clubs, which we completed in August legally. So we had to go through a process with filing with the state and motions to conjoin the clubs, which we did. And the banking finally got resolved yesterday or this morning. So it's like the last piece was taking our bank accounts and merging them together. So that got done. So we're in pretty good shape, I think. COVID isn't the best time to start essentially a new venture that's a social, based on social life, social activity. But
you can meet them.
You certainly can meet.
The board can have a meeting because now everybody knows how to use all the things, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody is used to being on Zoom for all kinds of things. So now everyone can get together and we can have meetings across the state more easily.
And as you said, Maine is so big that you can now come together, you know, a little more easily utilizing Zoom and other platforms. So, you know, upward and onward.
A tailgate a couple of years before everybody merged. And that's where Jim kind of got the idea, thinking, oh, it might be better, not him himself, but when he first talked to people from other parts of the state, he went and brought Lockman Tailgate North up to Orono for a football game. I couldn't go. It was terribly raining out, but they all went and had a great time. Like it was, you know, we transported all, instead of bringing it to New Haven, we just brought everything up there. But it was great when he got to interact with all the people that, you know, we knew that was something that we had to do again. So I'm glad now that we're all one group that we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, and we're very much looking forward to getting out and getting together again. We know that we're very fortunate here in Maine because we've got wonderful outdoor spaces, we have wonderful dining, and we want to take advantage of both of those.
Well, if you guys, so if we have any, I call you this very affectionately, so I hope you don't take it offense to it, but if we have any other maniacs watching, you guys can find our Yale Club of Maine. Are you guys on Facebook, or are you on, you have a website? Tell everybody how they can find you if they're maniacs too.
We think there is a website, but it was in the older YAA system, so it may have poofed away. I'm not really sure.
Well, we'll make sure to drop a link in the video for everybody to find you.
Yeah, with Facebook, we do have a Facebook page. It's a private page, but if you're on Facebook and you go to the Yale Alumni group, if you're not a member, you should be. Then if you look down, there's somewhere in the stream from maybe 3 weeks ago, we announced that the corporation had agreed, or the YAA board had agreed to accept our merger. So there's a link in there, and we'll put something in there as well. So just click on that. It'll ask for admittance. We'll let you in.
Perfect. Well, we will make sure that everybody knows how to find the Yale Club of Maine. Yeah, what was that?
We're going to go get our son so he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, go get him. So we are proud mom. I don't blame her. We will make sure that everybody knows how to find the Yale Club near them. We will put a link in the video, and this is going to be available on Yale Alumni Vimeo. After this, it will stay in perpetuity on the Yale Alumni Facebook group page. There is most likely a Yale Club near you folks, so please join us. And there's the youngest. Yeah, I think he doesn't fit in the screen. Hello, youngest of the Lockmans. Well, it has been a great pleasure talking with you guys tonight. I know you have some photos. If you'd like to share the photos as we head out this evening.
Okay, let me figure out how to do that. I think I put this button.
One of my, as you guys are pulling up the photos, one of my colleagues, Wendy, said that you should have considered making the merger official at the bowl, but you know, that might have been a lot to pull off. So James, go ahead and tell us really quickly about these photos. These are great.
Go back to this. So this one right here is from Harvard, 1988. We were, this is from the band, and a friend of ours took this picture. But the great thing about this photo, so among my favorite photos, is there's, well, me in the center, but right here, the only person looking at the camera is Rori. And at the time, I mean, we didn't know her. She knew her. I didn't know her. But it's pretty awesome to see this picture, just random picture, having to put the two of us in the same place at the same time. We went with the band to Italy. This is us in the Coliseum, I think. Yeah.
Coliseum.
So back when we were 80s. And then on the field itself, you can kind of get a sense of the scale. The band is with their backs to us, and our parents are with us, and our groomsmen and bridesmaids are all around. So this was a great event for us. And again, leaving the bowl, Mike Marsland, the amazing Yale photographer, took that picture, and this one too. And it looks like attendance was about the same as we get on any given Saturday.
Except at the game. Except at the game.
This was Fordham, remember, so not a league game. And this is the whole party together. So a bunch of Yale people in here, which is great. And our 20th, we got together. So we were outside of Portal 23. They had taken down the trees, and so they had kind of put the prairie back on the bowl, and had that. And then on the, was this the 20th?
25th.
This is 25th. We went back out on the field. Zeke, who was just here, you remember, towering over Rori. That number 30 is him. So he was about half the height then, all of it just a few years ago. So all three of the boys with Rori there.
25th.
And
yep,
25th right here. I heart Yale staff. Totally true.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that.
Yeah. And then this one is more.
Oh, we have some. We'll show you these. Okay,
so Yale Club activities. This is us out snowshoeing with Harvard Club, and Yale Day of Service event here. Another Yale Day of Service event here. Looking back at the football game, we went up to UMaine. We had a few photos from there, so folks excited about getting together, and of course landing on a Yale band hat, which is among my favorite rain hats. And it was a cold, rainy, miserable day, but we did win, so it it was worth it.
A win is a win.
Win is
I
a
love
win.
it. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story, for sharing your photos. You know, the Yale Band it's a wonderful thing. And my children have been to a handful of football games. And one of probably the most thrilling part of the whole thing for them was when the band passed through the parking lot and one of the drummers handed one of my children their sticks and they got to hit on the drum. And I mean,
All right.
I have a budding drummer now because of it. So I've experienced firsthand the wonderful band community and getting to know you guys through your story. Your wedding story is amazing, but I especially want to thank you for your leadership with the Yale Club of Maine. Clubs are, you know, such an important way for Yaleys to stay connected to one another and to the university. And it's a great pleasure to be on the club's team and to work with people like you. So again, I'm going to make that pitch. If you are not involved with your Yale Club, get involved with your Yale Club because you'll meet wonderful people like the Lockmans and hopefully me. So thank you again.
Can I make another pitch while I'm here?
Go ahead, James.
For many years, I was and still am on the board of the Yale Science and Engineering Association. We've been around for 100 and some odd years. Obviously, it's the Science and Engineering Alumni Association. So if you have a degree that has something to do with science or you're interested in science, come visit ysea.org and let us know you're there. Join up.
There you have it. There are endless ways to stay connected and involved at Yale, and we would love to have you. So once again, thank you, James. Thank you, Rori. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been a pleasure getting to know you guys and chatting with you. And that's it for Yale Alumni Lives portion of the pep rally. It's been such a pleasure talking to football players, cheerleaders, band members, Coach Tony Reno. All of this is available on the Yale Alumni Vimeo page for you to watch again. And tomorrow there's going to be a DJ dance party. And on Saturday, I know that there is look at this. I love this. This is why I love the band. There's also going to be a scavenger hunt on Saturday. So come back. Enjoy the Yale community. Even though there is no game this year, we are celebrating all things Yale, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with all of you. And thank you again. And we'll see you again real soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So I just stopped the live stream and it has been so much fun. You guys are a blast. I cannot wait to get up to Gorham and to hang out and to have a drink or a coffee or a piece of cake. I don't care.
We did not plug, but we also make maple syrup.
Oh, I love that.
We sell it online, and at the Lockman Place Sugar House, we make our own syrup.
Oh my gosh. I gotta
In
look it up
March.
right now.
So
End of March, you know, if COVID, when that's gone, but that's the time to come because all the sugar houses open up their doors and you can go on tours and.
But this year it didn't happen this year because of COVID. So, but we make our own syrup.
Okay, so if you are able to do that again, and we can either do a virtual tour, you let me know, or if we could turn that, let me know. We'll do the same exact thing.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would. It would be amazing. So you let me know if that's something that you can do. We'll do a virtual tour.
Great.
But if we can do an in-person event, I mean, even better. But if we could do a virtual tour, that would be so much fun.
Yeah,
so let me know.
We can do that. We can totally do that.
Jim does a lot of little videos like on our webs that we put up during the maple syrup season, which is in the spring, like in the February into March. So he does some of those. So this would, tie in with that.
I love it. Yeah, just you know how to find me, and I truly will let you know if I get up to Gorham because I would love to see you guys. So, all right, I'm gonna go eat some pizza, pick up my children.
Eat some pizza.
Thank you so much.
Modern Sally's or Pepe's.
Well, they are delivering now because of the situation, but let me tell you how expensive that is. So I am lucky to have good pizza in West Haven also, but occasionally I do treat myself to some New Haven pie. So thank you guys again. It's been so nice. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.